Hey, welcome to the Tricky Bits. Today I'm going to talk about one of my songs, which is technically a cover, so it's only sort of one of my songs. It's Autobot Decepticon Battle / City Under Siege from my album called 2005, which is a series of pieces from the original 1986 Transformers animated movie. The score was done by Vince DiCola, and I just basically made it sound like, what if a 5-piece metal band played it? Now, this particular song has always been one of my favorites ever since I was a little kid, and it is one of the craziest pieces of music I've ever played. There are tons of tricky parts in it. It's changing time signatures every other bar. There's weird counts in there all over the place. The feel changes constantly, and it's a lot of like just keeping track of everything in your head. It's really crazy, but it is actually a lot of fun to play. That being said, it's a lot of fun to play. So I'm going to go over a few parts that I personally still find challenging, even though I recorded the damn thing. I'd love to see somebody else try to play it. Like, not that I don't think they could. I certainly think other people could. It would just be fun to watch other people give it a shot, because it's a really cool piece of music. I kept the first half of the song basically the same as what's on the original soundtrack. That's the Autobot Decepticon Battle part. And then halfway through, it segues immediately into another piece called City Under Siege. And with City Under Siege, because it's a film score, a lot of the motifs repeat. So I took some of them out, because otherwise you're going to hear the same part like 16 times. And so I just sort of kept the highlights from City Under Siege, just to keep it concise. Otherwise the song would have been like 12 minutes long. And anyway, so the first thing is the electronics. There's two instances where I use electronics in it. Right at the beginning of Autobot Decepticon Battle, and then actually right as I transition into City Under Siege, I use it again. Now, what I've done is I've prepared this in advance. First, you put this, the SPDSX to 350, let it sit for about an hour. Then you marinate the sounds in your computer, and when they're ready, you put them on a USB flash drive, you put them in this guy, and then you're ready to go. So I have two patches on here. I have ADB1 and ADB2. So Autobot Decepticon Battle, it's very, very complicated. So, I don't know why that's happening. Oh, there we go. Anyway, technology. So, I have the sounds for the intro of Autobot Decepticon Battle on the first patch, and then I have the sound for City Under Siege on the next one, and I'll explain why. I use my KT10, this guy down here, to play two of the sounds, but because I only have the one pedal, I have to change patches halfway through, and I haven't yet gotten around to getting a foot switch, so I actually have to reach back and push the plus button, which doesn't always work. So basically the first part, I have these sounds here. So this is the higher pitched one, and this is just an approximation because I had to build these in Reason on my computer, and I did my best. But I don't know exactly what they used on the original recordings. I mean, there's some gear lists and stuff like these, like Linn drums and stuff like that, and they had some real drums and like just walls and walls of keyboards, but I don't know how any of it works. So here's what I got for the beginning of Autobot Decepticon Battle. That. And then the left foot plays. Now, the reason I do that is because the second sound goes when the snare happens, but the hi-hat's also going. So both my hands are occupied, so I have to use the left foot to play the second sound. So it goes like this. That's how I play that. When I transition to City Under Siege, which is about like 4.5 minutes into the song or so, at some point there's a couple of stops in Autobot Decepticon Battle, and when I'm smart enough to remember, which in the cover you just watched I wasn't, but when I remember, I reach back and I go boom, and then I get on with the song and I'm ready to go when City Under Siege starts. And basically there's there's this sound. So that plays every time the snare hits, and again my hands are occupied, so I do that. So it sounds like this. that's it. That's the electronics for the whole thing. Now, as far as other tricky bits, the one that gets me like even still is towards the beginning of the song. Like there's sort of the intro, and then I think of it as like the first verse, where I'm doing an off or an on beat hi-hat, open hi-hat, which means my left foot is closing the hi-hat pedal on the off beats, and then I've got these shots on the snare and kick that happen throughout, and it sounds like this. Now, the way that I work that out, because it's so easy to screw it up. The way that I work it out is I have to think about the timing of my feet, and then I don't even think about my hands at all. Like the right hand's just keeping time, and it's like, as long as I keep this going, I don't have to think about this limb at all. And then in my brain, because there's like this compartmentalization that goes on, my left arm just matches my right foot, so all I got to think about are my feet. And that's the trick, though, is I got to figure out like which foot is doing which. So there's 1, 2, 3. There's 4 variations of these shots throughout. It sort of goes A, B, A, C, A, B, A, D. So shot A is as follows. Now, with shot A, the tricky thing is lining up your feet in such a way. By the way, I'd like to point out that's the smoothest I've ever played that, ever. So you got your foot going like this. And then the first kick hit lines up with your foot closing the hi-hat. And then the second kick hit, which is technically on the beat, is in between the two. So you go kick and hi-hat at the same time, then hi-hat, kick, hi-hat. So like this. Like that. So when you put it all together, if I could do it without my eyes rolling back in my head like I was dying, that'd be something else. But anyways, so shot B is just one snare and kick, just boom together. And that happens when your foot is off the hi-hat. So you go hi-hat, kick, hi-hat, and it sounds like this. That one's a little more straightforward. Then it does A again, and then for C, shot C, is actually just on the snare. So it's one hit and then a flam on the snare. So you do the one hit when the hi-hat is open, and then when the hi-hat closes, that's when you do the flam, because you can take your hand away from the hi-hat for a second. So that goes like this. So again, but slower. So then it goes back to A, and then B, and then A again, and then D is mostly just on the kick. And it is, hold on, I gotta think my way through this again. Hold on. It's 3 hits on the kick and then a snare. So the first hit on the kick is when the hi-hat is open, and the next 2 happen when your left foot is going down to close the hi-hat. So lining those 2 up is very, very crucial, and then you follow up with the snare, and then you do it again. So altogether it sounds like this. And that's it, that's that section. And then when it's gone, you take a huge sigh of relief, you get a little moment to play the ride cymbals, and then it goes into some tom shots and everything. I'm not going to walk through the whole song because it would be here forever, because like literally every part of it is tricky. But that part is the part that I struggled with the most when I was recording it a couple of years ago. and even struggle with doing the drum cover the other day. So, well, the other day, I guess you'd be watching this in May, and it's February now. So, a couple months ago. The past is the future is the past. Anyway, trying to think what else is tricky about the song. Mostly it's just keeping track of the changes because they come fast and furious, and the counts like in between sections are very tricky because they're not always like groups of 4. There'll be like 3 bars of 4 and then a 2. I'm gonna turn that off so it stops buzzing when I talk. And that just comes from just mapping it out. I mean, I had the benefit of having the click in my ears if I had to do it the old-fashioned way. But that's basically it. I mean, there's a lot of 16ths on the hi-hat, and then just keeping it tight is the really tricky part. But that I can't really give you any tips on how to do that. You just gotta just do it. And yeah, a lot of it's just about just being fast and just being on. There's no real way to there's no trick to it. It's just a simple trick. You just have to do it. But the electronics, I've explained those, and that hi-hat thing, man, that drove me nuts for a long time. And then there's the double kicks that I threw in there that match the synth part, the dun 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 dun. But again, like, I don't know what to explain there. It's pretty straightforward. You just got to practice it until you get it. And I think that's basically it. Is you just, it's like, I don't know. What I imagine is like jumping from rock to rock across a river of lava, of just just as quick as you can, and then you get to the end and you're safe, or you fall in the lava and you get gollumed basically. But that's basically it. That's Autobot Decepticon Battle / City Under Siege. Again, it was originally written by Vince DiCola. I just rearranged it and then played all the instruments except for the lead guitar, which was done by Noah Lambert, who, like, on a constant basis, I'm amazed that I get to know that guy because he's just awesome. He's an amazing guitar player, super nice guy, and he did a great job on the record. I'm still very happy with it. But yeah, that's it. So if you found that informative or useful, or if it helped you pass the time on the toilet, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.